Recently I have moved back home to my mother's house after having lived on my own for 6 years at Rutgers U. Now my mother is the type of person who worries herself into oblivion, biting her fingernails, smokes cigarettes incessantly, etc. She once told me that when she was my age she was offered to try the pot. But she didn't give in to curiosity, God bless her soul. So anyhow, you can imagine for yourself what kind of reaction she would have after discovering her oldest son had been ingesting experimental research chemicals. She would go nuck and futs. Being home has certainly forced me to adapt the nature of my ethnogenic experiences. The two biggest problems I have run up against are: 1. Unless I want to spend the whole day outside wandering around the children's stuffed neighborhoods, I wait until after midnight or so to start the experience. So, I am usually not well rested. Oftentimes, I am counting on the energy component of the substance to pick me up. The other bump in the road to rapture is the underlying tension of my mom waking up and trying to interface with me. I've already had to speak about religion, my personal version of God versus her Roman Catholic Lord Almighty. Needless to say, that sort of interchange is undesirable to the max. Yes, to the max I said. So, it's 10:36 according to my digital alarm clock. I had measured out the 5 MeO AMT, 6 mg into a gel cap, earlier in the day. So the pill is down the hatch and within an hour and a half's time I feel my first alert. A slight energy change, hard to pin down but it is certainly there. For the next hour, the feeling gradually rises higher and higher until a warm rubbery feeling pervades my temples. Perma-grin has also set in. My thoughts are also chemically induced. On the Shulgin scale I would say A++ at this point. A phone conversation would still be possible, but a face-to-face interaction with mom would suck right now. So, to give myself an excuse to be anti-social and not watch Walker Texas Ranger with her, I telephoned an ex-girlfriend who remains close with me. The conversation was going very well. Yabbering on about Robert Anton Wilson, the Golden Dawn. Work, she works at an apothecary pharmacy and I'm a social worker with schizophrenics and borderline personality disorder folks. So, I prefer to stay off this topic while under the influence. Crazy behavior is contagious sometimes. It can be a liberation to go entirely screwdy da plooty, but I can do that at work. Here I just want to do some good ol' metaprogramming dude. Anyhow, as we were chatting a slow rising nausea began mounting. Soon, anything I was sensing with my eyes or ears or even touch was creating a disturbance in the force. Suddenly Mount St. Helen was erupting. In a gargly sort of gasp, I tried to explain that I had ingested research chemicals and need to purge. I think she understood me. After vomiting pure stomach juice, no food, I lay down. The nausea was being a bitch and wouldn't scram. I decided to puff some Elvis, the king of weed, to counterbalance things. That certainly helped stabilize the nausea, but I still needed to lie down flat. So, I put on Olivia Tremor Control and some Mogwai and, turn on the groovy lava lamp, lit some aromatherapy candles and set myself on autopilot. My new puppy was lying next to me. I felt ecstatic about his being with me. I could feel his heat against my body, a sensation that grew very intense until I had to shift him to the other side of the bed to alleviate the heat. Visuals were present at this point as well. The walls were breathing again, these collages that I made were moving. There were strange geometric shapes moving in and out of my perception. Mostly dark blues, reds, violets, and a dark yellow. I was emotional, very happy as well. The nausea however never left me, oh so faithful. The rest of the trip consisted of petting my dog, studying his markings on his fur. He is an Australian Shepherd and looks like the RCA Victor dog if you dropped him down a chimney, and just generally trying to space out at will. I would start to be able to superimpose the daydream-esque thought images from within my head, into the airspace in front of me. Like the holographic image or Princess Leia in Star Wars. I reveled in this half-dream state for about 4 or 5 hours. I then noticed it was getting near time that my mother would be rising to go to work, it's my day off. I popped some hydrocodones, 2 tabs 7/275 of a milligram. The dreaminess got dreamier as the hydros kicked in. Soon I was nearly asleep when I started to visualize some Indiana Jones-like scene in my mind. I was standing in a tunnel of some temple. There were these oversized spiders everywhere. I could feel them eyeing me suspiciously. Suddenly, I felt some bump into my leg. I made a yelping sound, woke up only to find my puppy sleeping between my ankles. Spider puppy. Anyhow, I laughed. I was still tripping at 9:30 a.m. Somewhere thereabouts I drifted off to La La Land. I woke up at 1:30 p.m. feeling quite fine. Everything still had a technicolor sheen to it. Autumn is a great time of year to trip. Several days after the trip, I wonder if I would have had the energy to dispel the nausea had I taken it earlier in the day, and at a safer feeling location. Big Mother was watchin' me. I enjoyed this material, despite maternally induced paranoia.